they will share their experience. So this is a session of that kind. And Haribini, she's working in ITSM field only. She's an ITSM expert. So I hope you will get a lot of insights about the subject from this session. So by the time your friends join, you can interact with her, you can talk to her, and you can find out what is required or how to study the subjects or what is the opportunities in Denmark, of course. Okay, so Haridini, over to you.
Right. I mean, I'm just giving uh, what you say, a thing that this is basically an interactive session. So whenever you have any question or anything, and possibly you are confused in that particular thing, you can definitely, switch on your cameras, or not even need to switch on the camera. I've been a student, so I know how it feels. But you can definitely put it in the chat or something like that. And I'm not definitely not going to bore you with, all the other part about it. But I'll just start with my brief introduction, and then probably we can have a good one-on-one interactive session where I actually get to know your concerns or your questions about this particular field. So I have been in the IT field for the last 3 years now. I am in my fourth year, and my started my journey as a technical person. I was looking at the servers. I was looking at the database. When I initially joined, I was into cloud, and suddenly there was a period in my life where I was like, I have good communication skills and I have good managerial skills, and where can I use this the most? That's where I came across the field of ITSM, and that is how I realized what exactly the ITSM field is. So, as you all know, the full form of ITSM is IT Service Management. When the entire full form has something called as management in it, you ought to be prepared that it is going to be a managerial job in the near future. And trust me, being a manager, it kind of rocks because you have all the technical peers working with you as a team, and initially also reporting you, while they close some incidents or anything. So I'll give you a gist about what exactly different types of things, or the processes that ITSM has. So I hope I know that every one of you probably have Geo SIM cards, Airtel SIM cards, and whatnot. Probably use different Wi-Fi's. So just like that, when a Wi-Fi is gone, you call the call center or you call the help desk, and you tell them that, boss, मेरा Wi-Fi चला गया है. So can you just help me out in this? और मेरे को बताओ problem क्या है, मुझे बताओ. So the back end of this, after you call, the back end goes like there is a ticket that logs under your name, that this person, for example, Pushpa ma'am has called a call center, and she has told that, my Wi-Fi is not working, I pay so much and whatnot. And then the Wi-Fi guy, the person who's picking up the call, is going to give you a number, a ticket number that you usually track. Same goes with your delivery. When you order from Amazon and whatnot, you get an order number, which you use to track the orders and all. Similarly, you get a ticket number in the service management field. You take the ticket number and you track through the ticket number. Now, in the back end, that ticket number is nothing but an incident. An incident is a disruption of a service. So when a service is disrupted, that's how an incident is created. An incident can be a minor incident. For example, आज house help घर पे नहीं आई. That's an incident for your mother. आज cricket match पे बारिश पड़ गई. That's an incident for the fathers and probably the cricket lovers. आज टीवी पे Netflix पे ड्रामा नहीं चल रहा. Netflix is down. That's an incident for all the Netflix users. So similarly, incident is created, and then our technical teams, matlab the people that have DevOps, the people that work on virtualization like VMware, Microsoft Hypervisor, etc. People who work on storage like Hitachi, NetBackup, Commvault. People who work with Unix, different servers, security, Linux servers, Windows servers, etc. They all come into a group together and then they see what the problem is. So this is what happens in incident. And when an incident is resolved, you get an email notification probably on your email addresses saying that this particular incident is resolved now. You may enjoy the service or the offering that we have. What comes next is to resolve that incident, you probably need to change. For example, if your household maid is not coming on time, your mother is going to wait for a month and then she's going to be like, आज नहीं जमता मेरे से, मैं अभी change कर दूंगी तुमको. So similarly, for example, abhi Hotstar, the IPL was on Hotstar, and somewhere Ambani bought the rights for the Hotstar. That's the change that the broadcasting partner changed for IPL. So this is one change that helped you. Similarly, when you want to resolve an incident, you have different types of change that you do for the environment. And when you do for the environment, that particular thing is known as change management, where you look at your changes that the technical team has, you basically review them, you ask what exactly people are doing in that particular change, and then you approve it. That's a job of a change manager, as simple as it is. Now, the third aspect that we come to is the problem management. Now, for example, your Wi-Fi, your Geo Wi-Fi is going down again and again. And it's a recurring problem that's happening again and again. And you realize that, boss, I've called you thrice and 4 times, but my area still does not have a Geo functionality properly. So that is a recurring problem. A recurring problem is jo bar bar hota hai. Now, to deal with those problems, we create a problem ticket that helps you go into root cause analysis. Now, root cause analysis is jad tak jana problem ke, to come up with a solution and then to implement that solution via a change, because of course you have to change something or the other in the environment. So that is what problem management is. And these are the largest or the majority part of ITSM. Now there are different parts like release management, documentation of it, etc. and everything. But the majority of the itil processes, we purely focus on these 3 particular managements, which is incident, change, and problem. So if you have any doubts till here, you could let me know. Bhavesh sir is pretty much explaining things I can see on the chat. And yes, being a manager means you're bossing over a team of people and getting them to work for you. And it's fun, by the way, guys. It's absolutely fun because you have people who have experience of 15 years, 20 years, 10 years coming to you and telling you that, this is the problem. I want to change this in the environment. Can you please review that? So it is the people with a higher experience coming to you and telling you ki, do this for me, please. So they also behave very nicely with you when the time is right. Otherwise, they hate you because, you're the one with the process. You have to stick to what I'm telling you. And that is the main reason why when an escalation, this is a very corporative term, it's an escalation. That means, for example, you bunked the class today and you're bunking the class 3 days in the row. That's when the teacher realizes, oh shit, this guy is bunking the class. And then they put your name to probably the principal or the HOD and say that this guy is not attending the class. In a hierarchical manner, that's an escalation. So when an ITSM person gets escalated, that's how you know that you're doing a good job. That's how you know that you're being excellent in the job that you're doing. So this is the majority part of the itil processes that everyone focuses. So if you have any doubts, you could just let me know. And I think this was much of the lecturing that I had in me. Otherwise, Pushpa ma'am and Bhavesh sir knows how I was in college. I was pretty much the different zone kind of a girl who never used to actually listen to the class, but realizing it now, I think I met Pushpa ma'am a couple of days ago and I told her that, Pushpa ma'am, I am working in the field that you gave us the lecture about. And it is fun because now I remember that, I have seen the software cycle that is going on, the agile waterfall model. and that's what is being followed in what I work. So if we don't have any questions, you could just let me know in the chat, and probably I can then focus on what I do in my day-to-day life to give you a gist about what exactly happens in a day-to-day life of a person working as an itil expert and an analyst, and probably then you will know much better. So yeah, okay, Bhavi sir is explaining pretty well. Okay, so my day-to-day life begins. So what I usually did in my previous company was I was first an incident manager, then I became a major incident manager. And as I said, incident management is basically you handling a bigger problem, and problem that is faced by millions of users. So in my previous company, I worked with the United Nations. I was the contractor there. So United Nations has a bank called as IMF. The full form is International Monetary Fund. It is the bank that gives out you loans. For example, most of the African countries have billions or $1 million of loan from the IMF. And the most famous one that we know is Pakistan right now. Currently, Pakistan owes IMF a lot of money because they just asked about it and everything. Another example is South Korea. South Korea happened to had a loan which they paid off in the year of 2012. Yes, 2012. So I used to work with United Nations, and I was an incident manager there. So there the problems are pretty big. We had different banks impacting, we had different countries impacting, not just the users, but the countries. So the problems that we used to face during that time was probably my VDI. VDI is nothing but the virtual desktop infrastructure. My VDI is not working. That's basically holding a computer in your laptop. Like your laptop is, for example, 4 GB RAM. You hold a hypervisor, and over that you have a virtual machine that runs with 8 GB of RAM. So it's a miracle, but that's what VDI is. And we used to have issues with the VDI or something, and that's when the incident management used to come into the picture. Then I started working as a major incident manager where I had the whole world being impacted. So in the year of 2020 or 2021, there was a bombing thing happening over a country. Recently, there was bombing happening over Ukraine. So we had our Ukraine head offices all shut down and the users been affected. So as a major incident, we had to figure it out. How do we give them the services? So that's what we did in the United Nations part of it. Then later, I joined in as a change manager in the same company. I was a contractor with Nets. Nets is nothing but a payment gateway. So the same way we use Bill Desk in India, Nets is a similar kind of financial service that is in here, Denmark. And now I have joined another company called as Nordia, where I am a senior expert in the field of financial crimes. So just like we have Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi in India, we probably have a couple of people in Denmark as well who do the same thing. So I would be looking after them. So that's my basic journey of the itil that I have. And I know that I have a lot of time left with me, but I'm not going to bore you off because I'm not that kind of a person. I was also once a TY BSc IT student. So let me know if you have any other questions. I think my LinkedIn is anyway with Pushpa ma'am, so you can definitely ping me over LinkedIn as well. But anything else that you would like me to cover, Pushpa ma'am, Bhavesh sir, let me know. If not, then probably I don't know.
Yes, students, if you have any. Sir, you want to speak?
Yes, Haridini, I remember teaching a lot of things in ITSM. Anyways, I'm teaching them right now. but you said you were as a change manager. So generally, I teach them that although you be a change manager, but you can't do any changes until the CAB or Change Advisory Board actually sanctions those changes. So, but that is in theory. Does that
Yes.
really happen in practice?
Absolutely. So when a change comes in, your part is to review that. Now you review the content of the changes. That gives you the justification why you want to do the change. The worst case scenario for it, like what would happen if the change goes wrong. Then you have what would be the recovery process of it, because you need to know that if suppose my worst case scenario happens, what steps should I take to recover it. You have different types of change task attached to the main change, which specifies which team is supposed to do which task, because when we are talking about huge changes in a very big IT infrastructure, we have different teams involved in it, and that's when the whole C task comes into place. So when we review this change, we first have an offline review where it's a personal perspective. Like I'm reviewing the change, I would have some questions that I probably might write it down. And then, of course, we schedule a CAB meeting. CAB is Change Advisory Board. So we schedule a CAB meeting. In that CAB meeting, we include our change requesters, change coordinators, the QA. So QA is nothing but quality assurance. So before it even comes to change management, it should be technically fine as well. And that's what a quality assurance team does. They do a QA of the entire change to come up and say that, yes, this is technically possible and this is technically fine with us. Then it comes to change management. We have a review, personal review first. Then there are two types. When the change is very huge, we bring it to the CAB meeting where we have our important stakeholders also a part of that meeting, because usually a very big change which is going to impact everyone. Like for example, when Windows released the patch goes up to every Windows laptop user. So it's a very big patch thing. And what if something goes wrong in patching? So even that comes into the place. When the CAB meeting is done, when we have the stakeholders informed, we generally approve the change. However, we also have to notify the users if it is required to. Like if it is a change that is going to be visible by the naked eye, it is always better to inform the people that's going to be affected by it. As an example, I just said Windows patching. Every Windows user is impacted by it. So it's good to tell them that every Tuesday I'm going to release this patch and it's going to benefit you in the security reasons. And then we have changes which are very minor. We have different types of changes like standard change, normal change, emergency changes, etc. So standard change are something which is very normal and you do it on a day-to-day basis, which does not affect the environment that much. So for standard changes, sir, we don't usually use CAB meetings. But for normal changes, we have CAB meetings, and for emergency changes, it depends if we can have a emergency CAB where we have the stakeholders and everyone reviews it. Otherwise, usually emergency changes comes into a place where there is a major issue that happened, a major incident that came into place. That's where change management, if a person from change management is not there, incident manager is capable enough to review the change and approve it to resolve that particular incident. So as an incident manager, you also get to approve the changes when you are in shifts, because incident can happen any day or night. So you have to be awake. You get a phone call saying this system is broke. So you have to just get up, you have to open your laptop, you have to review things, and then you have to approve it. So CAB happens in a corporate life, yes, but not for all changes. It totally depends upon you as a change manager.
Some questions are there in the chat. So you can
Okay,
answer that.
I'm reading it. Okay. If we record an incident and then we find out it is a request and not an incident, what will be done? Okay. So when an incident comes in, I'll actually rather give you an example than to, give you a verbal speech. So for example, you log on, you call the Geo Wi-Fi people, and I don't know why I'm obsessed with Geo, but it's a good example. So I'm just gonna stick to Geo. When you call Geo Wi-Fi people, they tell you that, okay, your internet is not working. I have logged the case, and they keep it, and probably they check it from the back end. Now, when they check it from the back end, they realize all my ports are perfectly working and everything is done. So the incident gets closed, saying that it is good from our end. Probably it's the router that is not working from your end. So the incidents get closed. However, when you call again and they realize it's the same problem, and it's just not you, but it is also the other users in that area that's been affected, that's when they realize, oh, this can be probably for an exchange of a router. I mean, probably the main router or the main hub, because as you all know, it's switches, and then from switches you take to the routers and you create a good network hub. So when the router needs to be changed, that's when the Geo people realizes, okay, this is not a person's fault, but rather it's a fault of our own. We want the probably network infra to be, the topology to be different. That's when your incidents get converted into a request. And why it is getting converted into a request? Because request is nothing but you're asking something from the other person. So that is probably the other person needs to give it to you. So that is a request. If you ask someone, okay, get me a water, that's a request. You're asking them to get you a water. At the same time, I tell you, that there is a water bottle there, and it needs to be filled, but you just keep it there. So the filling of the water bottle, since it's empty, could be an incident. But me asking you that, the water bottle is empty, could you fill it and you bring it to me, is a request, because I'm asking for a service to be done. So that's when an incident gets closed and a service request gets open. And you actually refer the service request number into the incident. So in future, as a user also, whenever you see the incident, you can get to the request number, you can click on it, and you can know the status of that request right there. So that's what happens when an incident is recorded, and that's what happens when you realize it's a request. So the incidents gets closed, but however, the incidents get linked to the request. I hope I answered that question, Yogesh. Okay, we have another. How frequently are calls forwarded to technical teams from service desk? Okay, so service desk is nothing but your first level of support. There are different levels of support. As a service desk person, you just pick up the call and you do the first level of root cause analysis. For example, I tell you that my mouse pad is not working. The first level could be you could change the drivers of your mouse pad. You can first check if the light is there. If not, then you can restart the laptop. After restarting, you can check the drivers if they are updated or not. Perhaps a service desk person can even remove the driver, upload, install the new ones. So that is the first level of resolution. But when you realize that it's not my mouse pad that is in fault, but it could be my hardware inside that could be in my fault, because mouse pad is connected with various of wires and that could be the fault. That's when the calls are forwarded to technical towers. And usually the calls that we probably get could range, if you're in a bigger company, could range up to 2000 to 40,000 calls every day. Out of the 2000 to 40,000 call, few are very lame. No, they call and they say, oh, this is not working, what can you do? Especially within American customers, European customers, they'll call you for the slightest inconvenience that you receive. As an Indian, when you know that your laptop is not working, you would first restart, because that's what your mentality as an Indian is. But with Americans and Europeans, there's a huge cultural and ethnicity difference that we face. So they call for very slightest inconvenience in their life, and that's where the service desk usually handles the whole problem. But when they realize that it's not solvable by them, that's when they transfer the call to the technical support. In the technical support also, there is the first line of technical support. We call them as ALM and SRM. ALM is nothing but availability management, which looks up to the monitoring prospect of the infrastructure. They look at the technical incidents. Then we have the service request management, which is the SRM people. They look at the more technical stuff where a service is involved rather than an incident. That's what an SRM does. And then we have something called as IAM layer, which is the mixture of all. You're into technical as well, but at the same time, you're not that the first level of IAM, of course, you're not that experienced, but you know technically. And then there are various other hierarchies that we have in as a technical IT company. So that's how the frequently technical teams are contacted. Any fights that you have viewed between operation and development team? Yes, so we fight on a day-to-day basis, on an hourly and minute basis. There's a lot of fight. It's not the development team, so I would like to clarify this here. ITSM is more into service management. So there are two types of company. The first type of company is that gives you the service, and the second type of company is that gives you the products. For example, when you're looking at, I hope everyone knows database, right? Everyone is aware what database is. And you also, I think, know the companies who offer you the databases. So let's assume Oracle. I hope everyone knows Oracle. Oracle is a product-based company because they are giving you their product, which is the Oracle database to use. So that's a Oracle product-based company. But then you have other IT companies, for example, Accenture, Deloitte, Infosys, TCS, LTI, Mindtree. They are all service-based companies. They don't have their own product that they put into the market. They basically manage these services. So when the services are managed, it's not really a development team, it's the operation teams who take care of it as a service offering. But when you are talking about a product-based company, that's when the development team comes into picture because product needs to be developed, a service needs to be offered. So it's the service operation team and the product team. But there is a everyday fight between the ITSM team, which is the service management team, and the service operation teams because technically there are a lot of stuff, and as an ITSM person you can't really can't really keep a track of all those things because you have probably 30 towers that you need to look at because there are 30 different issues going on in 30 different towers. So you can't really have a micromanagement over these towers. So that's what happens. When a call, you would even ask a stupid question saying server was on or off. That could be a question. So we do have a lot of fights, but this is the best part about ITSM is how can you resolve those fights? And it is generally also between the two teams. So if, for example, there is database and storage fighting with each other, we know that according to the layer, it is the storage and storage के ऊपर database बैठता है. So database says it's not my issue, storage says it's not my issue, and then they both fight in a call where all the stakeholders are involved. And as an incident manager or a problem manager or a change manager, you're supposed to resolve that fight there itself because your priority is to resolve that issue and not to, string it like a string. You don't have to pull it like a rubber band. You need to just resolve that issue. So there's a lot of fight. Like, trust me, if you love being a manager, this is the best field for you because you get to meet a lot of people with a lot of ego, with a lot of experience, with a lot of different cultural and ethnicity wise differences. And that's how you realize that how can you actually solve that particular issue. So yes, there's a lot of fight that happens. Do we need to do any certifications for getting into an ITIL-based job? That's a very good question. So yes, we do have different types of certifications. The first level start with the foundation of it. So for example, you for anything that you do, you would of course require someone to say that, yes, boss, you're doing it right. So that's what certification does. It is not really important for you to get a book, read about it, and then go to the certification and do it. Not at all. You get into the field, you realize what's happening around you, and that's how you learn. Experience speaks louder than books, is what I have realized in this field. So initially, the first level of certification that you can do is the ITIL V4. Currently, there is a version 4 that's been followed all over the world, but I think there is a version 5 also that is going to come soon or has come. So what you can do is you can have a foundation. ITIL is ITSM now is known as ITIL, which is information technology information library or infrastructure library, which is ITIL's full form. So ITSM was the old name. It's now called as ITIL. So ITIL V4 certification is what you get. The certification's a bit costly, but once you get into any company, all the company would force you to get a ITSM certification done, because if you're getting into a service based company, you can't offer a service without process, and process is the must initial part of it. So you have to get a certification, and trust me, when you guys join the companies that will come for the placement and all, initial days you're just going to learn about their policies, you're going to learn about their processes. For 2 to 3 months they are only just going to tell you what process they follow, how the client meeting happens, and etc. So yes, we have to do certification. The basic ones would be the foundation certificate. Then you can explore the various fields. You have problem management certification different. You have change management certification different. Change management is now known as change enablement in ITIL. So change enablement, problem management, incident management, release management, all this could be done post the foundation certificate. But I think even if when you get the foundation certificate, your experience is going to be much more above than the foundation ones. So that's how you would probably realize that it's good to have a certification, because it just gives you a stamp that yes, he or she knows about this field. That's the only importance of certification, guys, trust me. Because when you show your resume to the companies, they would often ask you that, "ठीक है, you have wrote this is your skill set. I see that, अच्छा, you have written you're a thief. But तुमने क्या चुराया है? ये तो everyone is going to ask you." So the same way when you tell them that you know ITIL, how do you know ITIL? Boss, I have a certificate that says that you know ITIL. So that's the only importance of certificates. But as an ITIL person, you should also be certified into different technical foundation certificates. For example, you have Microsoft Azure certification, 104 as an admin for cloud. You have AWS cloud practitioner. You have GCP. You have VMware foundations. You have storage foundation certificates, maybe Windows MCT, Microsoft certified trainer, etc. It's good to even have that, because if in future you're an incident change or a problem manager, and when a technical issue just booms across, you should know the technical terms, because the technical teams would only explain it to you in technical terms. And then that's when you realize in a call someone is saying, the DNS zoning was not working. What should I do? The DNS zone, the whole zones are different. The naming convention is wrong. I have to name the IP address. The IP is not static, dynamic. And you just realize, what are they saying? It's total bullshit kind of a situation that time. But trust me, when you have the accurate knowledge about the technical terms, it becomes easy for you to realize, like, what they are saying is कि boss IP और नाम match नहीं कर रहा है, that's it. That's the conclusion. But they would tell you saying, "Array zone is different, the IP address is a naming convention, the A record is not there." A record is nothing but your name, the name of the website. So when you put Google, www.google.com, it has a perfect static IP that is assigned through DHCP and DNS. And that's when you know that it's just a basic naam galat hai wala situation, but they are saying ki a record nahi hai, and you're like, what is a record? So yeah, it is good to have certification in even technical perspective or technical aspect. So yes. Anything else? Okay. So guys, it is I think 4:20 here, so it's a bit sunny and cloudy out. But yes, I think it's almost 8 o'clock, 8:30. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. But ma'am, मान लिया Saturday को you got kids attending lecture. Hats off.
Our students are good.
Yeah.
And
Everything is Pushpa ma'am's effort.
Yes, absolutely. But it's more effort on the students' perspective as well. But yeah. Saturday को कौन lecture attend करता था sir? But no, it's good to attend this lecture because if tomorrow, okay, I just forgot to tell you. So the job opportunities, I think there was some question. I'm not sure. I think there was some job opportunity question or something like that. But yeah.
yes, I have.
Yeah. So as a job opportunity person, everywhere you search on LinkedIn or something for ITIL or ITSM, no one hires fresher. That's a boom shocker there. So what you have to do is you have to get into a company first. You can go as a technical perspective. So what I have realized is when you go from college to office, it's a very huge difference about the environment. Especially TY people have spent their first years, I think, during COVID, first or maybe even second year, half of second year in COVID. So there is like zero or human interaction with you guys. And when you go into office, it's a bit different environment because you have people who are more experienced than you sitting beside you. You are just scared that I could not even ask a very stupid question to them. Ki boss, how is this done, and etc. But it's a fun experience to have. So when it comes to job opportunity, on every field, in every field, you actually wouldn't find a fresher job opportunity in ITSM field, because ITSM or ITIL is not a field where you come in as a fresher. If you do want to come in as a fresher, it is good to get a certification done, the itil V4 at least foundation certification done. That's how you could get into the zone, but they don't prefer freshers more because it is something related to process. You work with so much experience, person. You work with 15 to 20 years old experienced people, and as a fresher you don't really have that knowledge to how to handle this. So you need to get a good mentor in this field, that could actually help you in realizing what can be done and what cannot be done. So it is very important. It's one of the fields where you have to have a good mentor for yourself, because it's a full people based field. You need to interact with people, you need to talk. तो शांत रह के कॉल में बैठ के अनम्यूट भी नहीं करके कुछ नहीं होता. And that's how I was camera conscious as well, but that's how I became, every time I could just switch on the cameras. And now that I'm working with European guys, I have worked with American guys, I know how much important they consider camera as, because that shows a sign of confidence, that you can look into their eyes because of the whole COVID situation. You can look into their eyes and you can actually talk. You're not just talking to a wall, but you can actually giving something, investing your time on. So the job opportunities for freshers is very less. But once you get into any IT company, it's very easy for you to switch over your field from technical perspective to an ITIL perspective. ITIL also, you can continue your technical journey being a part of ITIL. That's the beauty of it, because you get to review the changes, you get to know what technically what things are going to happen in that changes, what technical problems are occurring, what technical incidents are happening. Like tomorrow, the A record is not found. How would I even know what A record is if I'm not a technical person? But being in ITIL, I know what a A record is. I know what DHCP zoning is. I know what DNS is. I know what servers is. Maybe I even know how to, actually go into Linux, Unix, how to use CLI, etc. So that's how you get into this field. The job opportunities is pretty huge because for starters, now that we all know what ChatGPT is, it's very easy for you to use an AI to even code. Like I can just write something in ChatGPT and say that I want to print hello world, and it's just going to give me a code in any language that I want, be it R, Python, .NET, Java, etc. I can 100% do it. But this is one of the field that cannot be taken by a AI, and I can proudly say that because to make that AI, it's going to cost billions, because no AI is going to ask you stupid questions in a meeting saying that, oh, the servers is shut down. Did you check the power button? Because no one has that analyst mode, right? So this particular field would not be taken by AI for the next at least 20 years or till I retire. So that's the beauty of it. And it's all based on your communication skills, like how good and how talkative you are. So if you're, a bhai of the group, or, a businessman where you know how to convince people, this is the field for you. You need to talk a lot. You need to share your stories. You need to make the other people comfortable with you, because they're going to be with you, talking to you. And mind you, the major incident call goes up to 72 hours. I have stayed 72 hours, not a blink. I did not sleep. I was up. So you need to be attentive. You need to be analyst in your analysis mode. You need to talk to people to keep them awake as well. People share their screen, do technical stuff. You need to be aware of what they are doing technically as well. So you ping the people on site saying, "अरे क्या किया?" Same way what we do online lectures के time पे कि मैम ने मेरा नाम लिया, क्या बोला. Same thing you need to do. So the job opportunity is pretty huge. And the best part is it is ITIL process that is followed across the world. So if today I'm in a ABC company, that is going to follow the same process as a XYZ company is following. So for me, it is the same process. Maybe the technique of how to deliver the process changes, but the basic of it is the same. So you don't have to keep yourself up to date every time. Technically you have to keep up to yourself up to date कि अरे अच्छा आज तो ये वर्जन रिलीज हो गया, अब सर्वर का ये वर्जन रिलीज होगा तो आई नीड टू लर्न अबाउट दैट सर्वर्स. You get to know about your ticketing tools, etc. So one of the fields where you actually sit back, and when the work comes in, it comes in like Niagara Falls. But when the work does not come in, you chill like you are in Malibu. So that's the difference of this particular thing. Either you're in Thailand, Bangkok, enjoying your life, or you're in a chair continuously for 72 hours sitting and dealing with the problems that are coming. So that's the job opportunity basis of it, and how the life is. So yeah.
Any question? Please do connect her on LinkedIn. We have shared the profile, I think.
Yes. So when I did ITIL Foundation, just a fun fact, when I did ITIL Foundation, it costed me 25,000 INR. But now it is reduced. I think the cost went up to 10K or even below that. So yes, Bhavesh, sir, you're right.
Current cost for foundation ITIL is 12K. That is with training.
Yes, with training.
And without training, it's about 8K.
Yes. So when I did it, it was 25K without the training. And it was, I think, the peak of ITIL because version 4 was probably getting into the market, knowing everywhere, and the processes were just starting to be followed because even the processes need some time to settle down in the market. So even if it probably must be released 6 or 5 years ago, the whole coming into the market, setting their own beat takes a lot of time. So yes. So it's a very costly certification, guys, but you earn the money by overtime. India may, I don't know, I don't think you get overtime. But when you are working in an outside country, trust me, the overtime is your salary, is equivalent to your salary, what you get in hand. So yes. Okay, so I think I'm done from my end. Let me know if you have any queries or anything, and I hope that I did not bore any of you because being a student, I realize what boring lectures are as well. But I hope I did not do it, and I hope it was a fun session. Okay. Yogesh, in future, don't be my competition, huh? नहीं तो फिर you'll take my competition away. So. It's a very competitive field, by the way, guys, and it's a very small field, competitive. You know every person. Like you throw a stone, and probably I would know that person because he's from the same field. So, fun fact. Okay, Pushpama, I think we're good to close the call now.
It's not a call, it's a lecture.
This is what happens. This is what happens. But yeah. So this is what I
Yeah.
usually say after maybe 48 hours of sitting, and I'm like, I think we are good to close the call. Let's reconnect after 3 years. So yeah.
No, just another fun fact for you.
Yes.
My longest incident when I was working in a
Yes.
company has gone for about 112 hours, no sleep.
Oh yeah. That's what happens when you are, a team of incident manager and then you work with shift. Absolutely crazy times. Mine have gone for a month of like month or something. We have to open a change. We did 100 of changes for it. We did open a problem ticket for it. And the worst part is the SLA because as an ITSM person, you also need to look at the SLA. SLA is nothing but service level agreements. So when your company and the other company they gets into a sync, just like marriage, when you get married, government signs off saying that you're married and you get a marriage certificate. Same way, a company, when you're with the company, they sign a contract and they say that yes, now we are in contract, but मेरे हर issue 24 घंटे के पहले solve होना चाहिए. So that 24 hours becomes your SLA. So when a P1, P2 happens, P1 SLA can go up to 5 minutes to 15 minutes max. You have to resolve a P1 incident in 15 minutes. If you don't, your company gives a penalty. So I still remember my ex company gave $1 million as penalty because we could not resolve a P1 issue in a given time frame. So it's a crazy penalty wise company. And you also get to see the contract. That's the fun part. You actually see the contract as well because that's how you define the process. That's how you ask the people to do things quickly. So, yes.
It was just like, I mean, those 112 hours, we just had two changes that we were catering to, two tickets only. That's it.
Oh,
It wasn't a series of tickets.
okay.
But then the thing was that we were a service-oriented company, so no
Right.
product or anything.
Yes.
And luckily, in our SLA, we had put that clause that although we promised to resolve each and every incident within 48 hours, but then if the error of that incident is found, then we will resolve it within 48 hours.
Oh,
So
okay.
it took us nearly 90 hours to find the error.
Okay.
We were doing that crazy. And the incident had actually happened from the client side. Their guys did some router configuration. They updated the algorithm in that particular router, and then instead of reconfiguring it back to the previous values, they put in some new values, and for 90 hours we were struggling. We checked everything right from the code of the server to whatever services we were offering. We checked everything right from scratch, and still we did not get the error until and unless we came to a log entry in the router where we were seeing like the router software has been updated at so and so time, so and so hours back. So like router config updated and we were not informed about it, and then we came to understand that okay, this is the error that has happened. So it took us nearly 90 hours, which means nearly more than 3 days to figure out that अच्छा खाली router का software update किया है, and because of which we are struggling.
The most silliest issue that I have found was my data center had lost power connection. And none of them could do that because it was Christmas time in America. So none of them could actually visit the data center. And it was a very simple thing. The power connection for the data. So there are two power supplies, of course, when we talk about DC. The second power supply could not boot up because of some technical issue. However, the first power supply went off because someone stepped on a wire while being in data center. And we were stuck with that issue for 4 days. We are checking everything internally, like software wise, backend, the applications and everything is hung and whatnot. And then very sillily, someone asked in the question, like in the call, saying, why don't we check the power supply? What exactly is going wrong? And then we realized that, oh, it's just one wire, one tiny wire that screwed us for my entire Christmas. So I was supposed to be on holiday for 7 days in a complete week. And my entire Christmas was screwed because of this, because of a very tiny wire. So it as I said, it's a fun field to be in, when you could laugh off your own experience. At the same time, you can tell the other technical person, ki, "Arey, this is what happened." And even they laugh off and they say, "Oh, you're dumb." So it's a very fun field to be in if you really like talking to people, if you really like bossing around people, and if you really like to know, if you're curious enough, because in a call it of course matters a lot when someone is saying something and you're like, acha, kya bola, and that curiousness is what takes you far in this field. So it's fantastic for me. It's really great. I mean, for females this is really great because you have a very good opportunity to actually stay at home, and as a biological factor comes into place, it's a very good field. If you want to work from home, for males and females, all of them, you could stick to this field because now that we have, thanks to COVID, we have this amazing facilities of Microsoft Teams, Zoom meetings, and Cisco WebEx, etc. So that's how you can stay at home and you can still resolve the issue. क्योंकि टेक्निकल टीम्स को तो दे हैव टू गो टू द ऑफिस बिकॉज उनका सर्वर्स ही वहाँ पे पड़ा रहता है, तो दैट्स हाउ दे नो. बट इन दिस फील्ड इट्स ऑल वर्चुअल, सो दैट्स द फैंटास्टिक thing to be at this moment. Okay.
I think we'll stop out here because you two have a weekend to enjoy. It's just 4:30 out there.
I just came home. I enjoyed my Friday. I just came home. But yes.
Yeah, so I'll close the call the way you put it.
Yes. We can close this call, maybe catch up in probably a year after to see if Yogesh is still going to be my competition. But yes.
I doubt Yogesh being your competition, but there was
Okay.
another guy, that's Aniket.
Oh, okay.
Aniket definitely can be your competition.
Oh, okay.
Aniket actually is very good at talking, and he does a great deal of bossing around. He's just a CR the way you were.
Oh, okay.
Same division, same class.
Oh, okay. Is Ankit from TYA? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I need to watch out for 2 people then.
Don't worry, I won't be coming back.
I think Bhavesh sir is going to Denmark next.
No,
You
no,
should.
no ways.
You should.
No ways. I am happy being a teacher, and wherein you are just bossing around a team of 5 to 10 people, I get to boss around a team of 300 students.
I boss around 120 people. I don't boss around 5 to 10 people anymore.
Still 300 is bigger. Still 300 is bigger.
Yeah,
He's in
but
exams.
I boss around people who have PhD and masters, while I just have a bachelor's degree.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I,
but yes,
I,
of
I will
course.
soon get a PhD. I will soon get a PhD. But of course,
Yes,
first Pushpa ma'am gets a PhD and then I get it.
perfect. Sounds good.
Right?
Chalo.
Okay.
End the
Yes.
call. Thank you, Haridini. It was wonderful listening to you, knowing your experiences. Right. And I'm sure all the 20, 30 odd people who joined today, they will get some idea about what ITIL has in store for them. And yes, definitely, if they are interested, some of them will soon end up being your competition.
Absolutely. No, I mean, yes, you could reach out to me through LinkedIn also. I would be updating my LinkedIn probably on Monday. That's when I would officially start with my current company as well. And yes, so you could definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any other questions. But it's a very vast subject. It's a very theoretical subject at this moment. But it is just theoretical to know what the processes are. But once your process is good enough, that's when you realize that it's not theoretical, rather it's experimental. So, yes.
They will come to know too much about the theory when they start studying about the subject now.
Yeah,
Next
I
month
mean,
they have the
initially I thought IT, the moment I met Pushpa ma'am, I was like, मुझे थोड़ा theory में ध्यान देना चाहिए. So that's how I came to know that I need to give a lot of focus into theories and all, because the initial problem that I faced was very huge. Because as I said, you need to have a mentor. It's a human-based field. You need to have a good mentor. You can't just learn everything online. And that's when I realized that it's better to actually learn the theory first, so that you can pull off it in practical, and practical is much harder than what you think it is. So yes, Pushpa ma'am, I don't think none of them are going to, so that's fine. I'm a student and I don't even complain, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I really, even I don't think,
None of them are
and
going.
yeah, none of them will turn on their cameras. I would actually request, if you can turn on your cameras, please do. But then again, the same thing. I don't know how many of you remember. I think Haridini would be remembering it, that I never used to turn on my camera in a lecture.